It's October of 2023, and I enter a coral grow out competition sponsored by Adam at Battle Corals. Over a 12-month period, I would compete against 50 other reefers across the country to determine who could grow out a small SPS frag the fastest. The frag of choice that we would all receive would be the Battle Corals Hell Trollman. And the grand prize winner of the competition would receive a large battle box from Battle Corals comprised of many high-end SPS frags worth roughly $1,000. My specimen would arrive on November 1st of 2023, which would include an official Battle Corals measuring stick, and this measuring stick would be required to be in each monthly photo we were to upload to the competition thread on the Reef to Reef forum. My growth would be moderate, I felt like, but consistent. And at the 6-month mark, I celebrated that the coral was still, in fact, alive by taking a full blues shot for my upload. Well, the competition has now come to an official end, and the result is I actually won. I actually can't believe it, but I took first place. So I'm laughing because it just seems a little surreal. But stay tuned. We're going to talk about how I did it. How did I win? What did I do? Was there anything special? So how did I do it? How did I win? Well, to be honest, I probably got pretty lucky. I think there's a lot of luck in this. And who is to say that someone running completely different gear than I do or using completely different methods wouldn't also have had the same amount of success or better success? But now let me just take some time to walk you through my approach to reef keeping. Not to say that you must do it this way, but just to be an open book and to help others that may be struggling in finding similar success. First, I'm a firm believer in clean water. I don't really care if the TDS meter on my RODI unit says 0. My filters, the DI resin, it's getting changed every 4 to 5 months. The membrane I'm changing out every 8 to 10 months. I just really want to make sure all the water that goes into my system is as pure as possible. Second, I am also a consistent water changer. At the moment, I'm using Tropic Marin Pro Reef Salt, but I've used many other brands in the past, and I don't really notice much difference. Tropic Marin seems to mix fast, so I like that, but it's kind of expensive. I just change water. I don't really dose anything special beyond this that I have a firm belief in. However, I'm always trying stuff. We're always experimenting. For example, I'm dosing ammonia bicarbonate at the moment. But, I'm not sure it's doing much other than making me feel kind of good that I finally have a nitrate reading now. I'm a firm believer in running very intense lighting. The competition coral, that piece was getting roughly 600 par, and that coral was thriving under metal halide, T5, and LED, so I run all the light sources out there. A word of caution, I probably wouldn't run 600 par of straight LED. Metal halide lighting just seems to be a little more forgiving when it comes to high power in my experience. Um, you know, Really, I have yet to be convinced there is a better light source out there than metal halides, and in particular, I've yet to see anything outperform a radium bulb in terms of color and growth. So yes, I pay a lovely energy bill, and I have to deal with heat, so I run an ugly fan on top of the tank. Under the tank, things are pretty simple. I run actually an undersized skimmer, a CO2 scrubber, and a UV sterilizer. So perhaps of equal importance to the gear is I have a very regimented schedule for maintenance of these tools. So the UV sterilizer sleeve, that gets cleaned monthly. The CO2 scrubber media, that's swapped out monthly. And then the skimmer is deep cleaned every 3 months. Stability is also key for me. So my ALK, it's around 8, calcium 450, magnesium 1300. But more important than these numbers I'm spitting out is just to keep those parameters stable. My Trident helps with this a little bit. And And I'm keeping these parameters stable by just dosing 2-part. I use ESV Bionic. I've just used it for years and it's always just been done great. It's done great for me. Flow in my tank is extremely high, and as a result, my sand bed is a mess. It's all over the place. It looks terrible. I do not have any power heads pointed at a coral, which is key, I believe. They are all pointed to open spaces, and then they're cranked up really high. Some pumps, they're on a constant speed, while a few of them are on a short pulse mode, as I find I get better growth structure if the coral has moments of very intense flow, followed by moments of calmness. Lastly, I feed the tank a lot. Nothing fancy. Typically, I just feed pellets a few times a day on an auto feeder. Then on occasion, I'll throw in some frozen mysis, maybe a splash of Reefroids, maybe some Benepets. Just try things, throw it in there. I'll give nori a few times per week. And yes, I do get algae often, but if I see algae, I kind of know my corals are getting what they need to grow. So I'd rather my corals are fed and I just deal with the algae myself. And that's it. Pretty simple, right? I mean, I think it is. I don't know. But if I've missed anything, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. And here's the tank as of today. Things are going pretty well for the most part. The headache I have at the moment is I have some cyano, but we'll get through it, and it will be replaced with another new headache. Just part of the hobby, I suppose. Here is one last shot of the Hell Trollman competition piece under full daylight spectrum. I'm actually really excited to see how this will look over the next several months, if I can keep it alive, right? Knock on wood. That's always the case with SPS. You'll just never know if it starts to peel or die on you. So you may be asking, okay, what's next for me? What's next on the agenda? Well, now that I have won this coral grow out competition, I have now qualified for the Tournament of Champions grow out competition. So stay tuned for how that goes, and we'll see if I can keep up with the big boys and girls in this one. Well, folks, thanks again for tuning in on the channel. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you like what I'm doing, feel free to check out my Instagram. I seem to be able to do a few more updates than I do on YouTube there. It just takes a little bit less effort to upload some shorter content. Take care, everybody. Happy reefing, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.